Hey everyone, I'm the Idea Maker, and today I'm going to be giving my review on Marvel Television's Agatha All Along, Episode 5. Um, I think this might be actually a shorter one just because that, personally, it was an interesting story. Not saying that it was a bad episode, but I do feel, like in my opinion, this side of the show is not for me. And I'm not going to get into explicit detail on it because of the fact that I don't feel comfortable talking about it. But I will say, um, it does feel like even more like a 70s horror episode, which is interesting to me that it did feel somewhat of like a 70s horror episode. Now, I know that some of you guys do appreciate that there are like 70s horror episodes or like 70s horror movies that were inspired for this one. You'll see why. Um, but in the spoiler review, I'm not gonna go over the plot too much. I'm just gonna say that it was just a trial, and I don't want to get into details because of how uncomfortable it made me. Reason why is because I don't like talking about supernatural horror, but because that I do have the MCU on here, I do feel like it feels weird if I leave one out and not talk about it. And I want to make sure that I do talk about it before I do anything. Now, I know for a fact that probably by this time, when you guys see this video, more than likely it'll be farther out than it was supposed to come out. This was definitely supposed to come out the day. This is supposed to come out the day of the episode, but I feel like because there's been a lot that's been going on, and I'm still trying to process my grandmother's passing. I don't think it's going to be out that exact time, and I don't know how much longer it's going to be until it gets out, but I just want to say that this was an interesting episode. Um, it does get you several times. The scares, not bad. The scares are not bad in this one, but we do get to uncover a few little different things that are are pretty interesting about a specific someone. It is someone's trial, which it does get to a point where it's a little bit too much. Especially if you are watching this with someone who's a teen or a younger teen who is a fan of the MCU and wanted to watch this show. I would say this episode and this show is more for adults. It's not really for kids. It's not even really for teens. I would say that it's more for older fans, especially those who love horror. Like I said, it's not really my cup of tea, in my opinion. This is something that personally I did have to skip a few minutes of because I did feel uncomfortable with watching this part of the episode, and I feel there is a part of it that I felt really uncomfortable with because of the tone of it. I wanted to watch it because I've already seen WandaVision, and I feel like it'd be weird to leave it out. So I still stuck it through, which I prayed before anything, and I was really nervous about this one, and it wasn't as bad as I was expecting, but at the same time, I really don't know how I felt about it. But it's something that I wish that Marvel didn't do. It's something that I actually wish that they didn't do, but it's okay. I do feel like throughout everything it was a good episode, but like I said, it's something that I don't appreciate in terms of like the story. And it's not because I'm just being like kind of like putting myself under a rock in some way. It's just it's not my type of show in that sense. Like it just was not for me. I'm sorry, but this episode was not for me. And the show itself is great, but like I said, it was just not for me. Just keeping it out there. So I actually felt like they use some CGI, which is cool. But a lot of the stuff is practical still, which is one thing that I do like about Agatha all along, is that they still keep with the practicality of a lot of things. And I do feel like it does take an interesting turn in the horror section. And, it's interesting that it does so in a way where, it feels still like a Disney show. It still feels like it's made by Disney, but it also kind of feels like it's not made by Disney. It's a weird feeling. It's like you're in that little gray area that it's odd. It's a very odd thing to think about, but in my personal opinion, it was something pretty interesting. Not the best, but it was interesting. I also feel like the characters, like, you really start to get to like them more and more and more until you realize that there's at a point where, unfortunately, some mistakes are made, and those mistakes are going to cost them a lot. And I would say out of this, it does cost them a lot. It does cost them a bigger thing than you can imagine. So I do say that the tensions do rise in this area, and I feel like it's something that you're like, huh. And then there's some reveals that are like, wow, okay. So we got some reveals. We got some interesting sections of this episode that I was like, I gotta break this down in some way. I don't know how next week's is gonna be, but I really am excited to go over it more. So there's not much into this one, so I guess let's head over to the non-spoiler, the spoiler review part of it. So I'm going to give you guys a few minutes or a few seconds, and then we'll head right over there. All right, you guys are done? Yeah, if you guys already seen the episode, there's no turning back now, which is basically the warning that should have been in this episode. But yeah, so I'm going to start a countdown, and to make sure that you guys are actually okay with moving forward. All right. So in 3, 2, 1, let's do this. Okay. So the plot of this one is interesting. It's very, 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 very interesting. So they go through the trials and everything, but there's a catch. There's a major catch about this whole thing. The thing is that they're being chased by the Salem 7. But when they do, and they try to get their spells for the brooms to, for them to have magic brooms to fly around and hopefully they can escape. Apparently, when they're trying to escape them, the road is trying to redirect them to a specific portion of the trials that they need to go to. So the person's trial that they go to is Agatha's, which is interesting. Which I would have thought that they could have had her trial last. But it's an interesting little thing that they did. I mean, the way how they did things was interesting. There's no criticism, but it was interesting. But when they do the trial, they have to. It's like a slumber party in a cabin, and I thought to myself, okay, so this is like Friday the 13th of some sort. And then they have them do an activity that I don't want to talk about. You guys will see it in the episode. Let's just say that it deals with something. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about it. It deals with let's just say it deals with the board, okay? And they do the whole whatever. Some freaky stuff happens. Scary, freaky stuff happens, okay? And it does not go right. Turns out that someone's haunting them. Turns out that it's actually Agatha's mom's ghost. And the message that she delivers to them is to punish Agatha because of the fact that she takes others' powers away. And that's basically the whole premise of the episode. At that point, there's a portion of it to where we lose another member of the coven. Turns out, um, Alice dies from the fact that Agatha starts to try to take the teen's powers away. Okay, but instead Alice steps in and tries to fend her off, but Agatha ends up taking her abilities and her life force to where um she dies, unfortunately. And it's a sad one because I actually really liked her, and I was very disappointed that they did that. Um, I did have some sort of an emotional attachment to her, and I felt like I really liked her character, but I was upset at the fact that that happened. But um I am actually happy though about one thing, which the one thing that I am happy about is that this was also a good episode in terms of I would say story when it comes to getting to I would say just talking about like you just like like seeing the characters interact and seeing them try to be better. And I liked it. I did. I really did. But like I said, I was not comfortable with the horror elements. At this point, we also do get the reveal. We do get a reveal in this episode that I was like, "Oh, okay, I was right on the nose." Um, and it turns out from all of this, man, it turns out the teen is actually Billy Maximoff. And I thought to myself, I knew he was going to be Wiccan. I had a feeling, and I was right. I was totally right. And it's revealed later because it's an interesting way how they revealed it. And I really like the fact that he was trying to you know he was he was already just like mad at the fact that Alice was gone, and he was trying to find a place in the coven and everything, and he was trying to do something for himself, but with everything that was going on, he just didn't know who to turn to. And then the reveal is that he is Billy Maximoff. So I'm wondering how episodes 6 through 9 is going to go, because of the fact that now, after he tosses the remaining of the coven, Lilia, Jennifer, and Agatha, to a thing of mud, and it's revealed that he's Billy. I'm like, you know what? I want to see where this is gonna go. But yeah, I mean, and the way that they needle dropped Billie Eilish's song, "You Should See Me in a Crown." Great needle drop. I will admit that was a great needle drop. A great way to end the episode and just take a step forward. I was really, really impressed. I was really impressed. So I am happy about that. I am happy that we are getting some questions answered. I want to get to see, are we going to get Billy's story? Like, are we going to get his side of the story told throughout the rest of the series, or what's going to be happening? Like I hope that we don't just like lead it off from something else or end it off on some other weird note. I really hope that that's not the case. I think that Joe Locke is doing a pretty good job at playing Billy. I think that it's an interesting, like, he's taking it to a great approach to where I could definitely see his inspiration for Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff. And I honestly, again, I was really distraught about Alice's death. I didn't want for her to die in this one, but unfortunately she did, and it really devastated me. I'm not gonna lie. But this episode was not my favorite. It was one of my. This is one of my least favorite. Actually, this is my least favorite episode. Great reveal, but my least favorite episode because of the supernatural horror side, and it's something that I don't want to experience again. I hope that the rest of the series does not go too deep into that even more. I really hope that they don't. But I mean, who knows? Again, it's not something that I deal with. It's not my cup of tea, like I said. And I don't mean it in disrespect to anybody else out there who likes that sort of stuff, but me growing up in a Christian home, and it just doesn't settle well with me. It really doesn't settle well with me, and I just want to let you guys know that. Even though that there's more likely than a chance that I would probably watch something that it's kind of like in the realm of it without going deep into it. I try my best not to be, doing, going into territories like that because it just makes me feel uncomfortable. And I'm grateful that I'm able to get this out to you guys and be transparent with you guys because I think you guys deserve the right to feel to know what I do like and what I don't like. And so that way I don't feel like, nobody's pressuring me and nobody is, getting me to do something that I don't want to do. So I just want to just let you guys know about that. And I think that it's something important as content creators and as YouTubers for us to be able to get out. And I think that you guys would appreciate the fact that there's somebody who wants to be transparent enough to feel like they're able to do more. And I really am happy about that. So I think that's it for my review for episode 5. Like I said, this one might be the shortest one. I don't know, but we'll definitely see. We will definitely see. But yeah. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching my review for Agatha all along episode 5. If you guys want to see more videos like this, then please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to follow me on any of my social media, I've got Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, aka X, my Discord and my Discord server, and my TikTok accounts, which the links will be in the description below. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you all. Stay safe, and I will see you all in the next videos. All right. Bye, guys.